Don't let her move in. The worst thing that you can possibly do with a girl that you are dating, the girl that you're in a relationship with, is moving in with her. Especially letting her move into your place. Okay, that is the worst possible move. You might be thinking like, oh, if I let her move in, I gotta have sex day and night, 24/7. Well, let me tell you, study after study after study has proven that the moment your female dating partner, that means your girlfriend, the moment she moves in with you, the sex actually decreases. Okay, so you're going to be having less sex with that girl. Not only that, the fact that you are now living together means that you have effectively removed that competition anxiety that a woman needs in order to continue to see you as a high value male. Because without competition anxiety, you're basically communicating to the girl that she has you. Right? She has you. There's nothing left to chase. And whenever the girl has nothing left to chase, guess what? That is when she begins exercising her open hypergamy, which means she will begin fielding her options. Okay? She will begin looking for other high value males that she can hook up with. Because now that you have moved in with her, you have basically become somewhat beta to her. Right? And it's very, very difficult to maintain that alpha status after you've already moved in with a girl. Okay, it's difficult. This is why, personally for me, I do not live with women anymore. I've done it before. I have no plans on doing it again. Definitely not in the near future. I mean, can you pull that off where you can live with a woman and she continues to treat you like the alpha male? She continues to respect you? Yeah. It's possible. In most cases, with the level of game that most guys have, it's not possible. Okay, very few guys. I've known very, very few guys who've been able to pull that off. And these guys are badass inside and out. Okay, they are badass inside and out. Most men are not at that level, unfortunately. Right? Unfortunately. But hopefully with more of these coaching videos, you can bring yourself to that level if you're lacking in any capacity right now. But moving in with a girl is hands down the worst move you can make. Beyond the realm of competition anxiety, the fact that you're living with this girl means you will constantly be asking for permission. Permission to do things. Permission anytime you leave the house. You're gonna be like, oh babe, I have to go to the grocery store. Or, oh babe, I'm gonna go to the gym now. Or, oh babe, I'm gonna go visit my parents. I mean, for the most comical things, you'll be asking for permission. Babe, I'm gonna go to 7-Eleven, get a Slurpee. You know, even if you're telling her these things, you know, some of you guys might argue, well, that's not asking for permission, that's telling her. It's like, well, no, in a way, you are asking for permission. Because if you didn't care, you would just walk out the door, right? You would just leave. And it's, a lot of times too, these women love to ask you before you leave the door, when will you be back? Right, guys? When will you be back? And a lot of you are like, I should be right back, maybe like 10, 20 minutes. You know, and you say it in that apologetic tone because you don't want to piss her off. You don't want her to start withholding sex from you, right? You don't want her to start a fight with you when you get back. You try to please her any way you can. I mean, it's just part of our natural hardwiring as men. We try to please women. We don't like seeing them upset. Why do you think there's so many like white knight manginas out there, like playing Captain Save-A-Ho for women? I mean, it's part of our DNA to protect women and keep them happy. It's not until you actively become aware that you're doing that, you know, once you go red pill, that you are able to unplug that. You're able to unplug that old blue pill conditioning and not care what she thinks, right? You just don't care. I mean, even the last girl that I lived with, I was already red pill, but I literally would just walk out the door. I wouldn't tell her where I was going. I wouldn't say shit. I would just walk out the door. And when we first started dating, we first moved in together, she had a huge problem with that because she was like, every boyfriend I've ever had always told me where they were going. You just leave. You don't even tell me anything. What if I want something from the store? What if you happen to be there? And I'm like, well, shoot me a text. If I happen to be there, I'll get you something. But other than that, I'm not a little boy. You're not my mom and dad. Okay? I go where I want. I do what I please. a lot of times too, when the girl would ask me, this particular girl, she'd be like, what time you coming back? I'm like, I don't know. I'll be back when I'm back. I don't know. You know, she's like, well, you said you're just going to the, you know, to Target. It should only be half an hour. And I'm like, yeah, but who knows? Maybe I want to hang out in the food court. Maybe I just want to sit in my car and listen to music. I don't know. Maybe I might feel like going to my gym. I don't know what time I'll be back. I'll be back when you see my car pull into the driveway. That's when I'll be back. You know, and I would say it with attitude too, because I don't like people questioning me. I'm not a little boy. Neither are you. So you guys who are moving in with these chicks that are letting them quiz you and try to throw you off and trying to catch you in lies to see if you're cheating or playing around on her, you guys are fools, man. You know, it's like you're living at your parents' house all over again. You're living under your parents' roof. You got to live by their rules. Right? You got to do what they say. I didn't like it back then, and I have no intention of moving back to my parents' house for that very reason. And the last thing I'm going to do is move in with some woman that I'm dating and have that same feeling and get that same treatment all over again. This time not from my actual parents, but from a dating partner. No. You know, and it's very hard to set the frame like that if you are already living with this person. Like, if you're already living with this person, you've already set the frame, and you've been doing this kind of little bitch behavior where you're letting her pop quiz you and ask you where you're going, what time will you be back, who will you be with, where can I get a hold of you. Like I said, no different from living at your parents, right? If you've already set that frame and you're letting her get away with that type of behavior, it's very difficult to reverse that, because as I always teach guys, you cannot go backwards in a relationship. You can only move forwards. This is why it is imperative that you set the frame from the very beginning that you are not that type of guy. You're not that little bitch who's going to be reporting to her like she's your warden and you're in prison. You know, that's not the type of relationship that you are going to be having with her. So every girl I date, I make it very, very clear from the very get-go, because I get a lot of guys who ask me like, hey, you mentioned you have a 6-girl dating rotation. How do you keep that from all these girls? Don't they know? Don't they get mad? And it's like, no, because I deal with that shit right from the get-go. I set the frame right from the get-go. And this is something I teach you about in 7 Months of Mastery. You must set the frame in your relationships from the very beginning. Okay, from the very beginning, male or female. Okay, let's go beyond just dating. Even with your guy friends, new guy friends you meet. Maybe they're a little bit too much of a douchebag, maybe a little too much of an AMOG, and you know, they want to pick on you a little bit or take shots at you. If you let them get away with that from the very beginning, it's very hard to reverse that. Okay, you might be able to talk to that guy and be like, hey man, stop doing that shit. I don't like that. You know, and he might back off a little bit. Just because he's a man, he'll be logical like that. But you can never get him to fully back off. There will still be times on occasion where he will take shots at you. Maybe not as frequently as before in the beginning, before you said anything to him, but he will still do it from time to time. Whereas you want to nip that shit in the bud from the very beginning. Whenever I meet a new guy, this hasn't happened in a while, but if I meet like a douchebaggy type AMOG like that, you know, and he wants to start our relationship by taking shots at me, I will nip that shit in the bud. I'll be like, hey, don't go there. Because if you go there, I gotta go there. And I don't want to have that type of relationship with you. I'd rather be talking about high value things like buying real estate, investing in the stock market, getting hot women into our lives. So when it comes to a woman you're living with, you gotta set the frame from the very beginning, guys. Because once you let this girl get away with treating you in a certain manner, she is just going to continue with that behavior. Okay, and again, whenever I start dating a girl, I'm quick to set the frame. And like I said, a lot of you guys have been asking me, how do you get away with dating 6 women? And the fact that they all know each other, don't they get mad? Don't they get upset with me? And it's like, no, because from the very get-go, I let them know, I set the frame, and I let them know that I'm not looking to enter a monogamous relationship with anybody right now, and that I want to see how things play out. And as I teach my students, I keep these girls on a never-ending probationary period where I tell them, like, hey, if you slip up or if you do start doing things that piss me off, I'm just gonna leave. I don't want to be part of that. So don't do it. Are these girls gonna still shit test you? Of course they are. Okay, Okay, these girls still shit test me even after I've told them all that stuff. But I'm always quick to nip it in the bud. And their shit testing is not nearly as bad or as harsh as what it would have been had I not set that frame. Had I not told them from the get-go, like, hey, if you poison drip me, if you start zapping me of energy, if you distract me away from my business, if you start throwing hissy fits, if you start checking my phone or start acting like possessive or jealous in any way, shape, or form that annoys me, we're done. Okay, we're done. Because that's not the type of relationship that we agreed to when we first hooked up. I told you from the get-go, I teach guys dating advice, pickup. I told you I'm still gonna be out there in the venues. It's part of my business. It's part of who I am. If you don't like that and you can't accept that and you don't have the maturity to accept that, then let me know now. A lot of times these girls are like, no, okay, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. And they go forward. Later on, when they try to poison drip or shit test me, I bring that conversation up to them. Remember when we first hooked up? Remember what I told you? What did you say? What did you agree to? I'll hold them to it. I'm like, what did you agree to? And I've had this fight with a few of the girls I'm dating right now. It's like second nature to me. But I'm like, what did we agree to? What did you say? You know, and sometimes like, well, that was before, this is now. I'm like, no. We never rearranged, we never renegotiated our contract. This is what we said was acceptable. So if you want to leave, there's a door. I don't hold a gun to any of these girls' heads. I'm like, you want to walk out? Be my guest. But thanks to the millions of beta males out there that they know they're going to be walking into, they always decide to just stay. Right? They decide to stay. The millions of guys out there, like I said, like most guys out there are blue pill. They're just, sadly, they're still blue pill. These girls know that, and they rather stay here with me, even though I'm dating other women, rather than the thousands of beta males out there that they could be dating that would probably be 100% loyal to them and them only. Another thing you have to understand is, like, once you move in with your girl, say you move into an apartment together, you are signing a 1-year lease. Because at minimum, you're going to have to sign a 1-year lease, which means you are going to be stuck with her for 1 entire year, no matter what goes wrong in that relationship. Okay, so say like you move into an apartment together, and within the first like 2 or 3 weeks, you start fighting like crazy, right? Things start to go south really fast. She stops having sex with you. She starts asking you every single time you walk out the door, where are you going? Where are you going? What time will you be back? What time are you coming home? You know, and it gets to the point where you want to leave. You can't, because you signed a 1-year lease. So you're stuck there. Unless you break the lease and you pay like a really hefty fine for breaking your lease early. But under most circumstances, you are under contract for 1 year when you move into a brand new apartment. Okay, you can't do this month-to-month shit unless you get a short-term rental. But if you're moving in with your girlfriend, chances are she's not gonna like that shit. She's gonna be like, why are you trying to get a place that's month-to-month? Why are you trying to get a place that's short-term? You know, don't you believe in us? What, you want to date other people? Should I date other people too? I hate girls who do that. It's like, oh, you didn't come home till midnight. Well, guess what? Tomorrow I'm going out with the girls. I'm not coming home till after midnight either. You know, the girls that are like tit for tat, I really can't stand that. Most of those girls always stay single too. No guy wants to marry a girl like that. It's like this constantly like trying to get even with you. No guy wants to be with a girl like that, right? Every time you do something, it's like, oh, I got to get back at him for that. Can't stand that. Those girls have like serious like mental issues. And again, those are the same type of women that in their 30s, 40s, 50s still can't hang on to a man, never been married, never had kids, never had a family. No guy was dumb enough to put a ring on her finger, and she's still out there in the venue, still partying her ass off, waiting to lock down the high value guy because she never could. And chick like deludes herself forever thinking that one day that guy's gonna come along. It's like, no, your attitude stinks, and that's why you could never lock down that guy, and you never will. And another thing about moving in with your girl is there's a little thing called common law marriage. Okay, common law marriage, which means you don't even have to propose to this girl. You could have no intention of marrying her, but the fact that you live with her for a specific period of time, I believe it's anywhere from 4 to 6 years. If you're living together for that long, the state will consider you married. Okay, they will consider you married. So I don't see any benefit with moving in with any of these girls. Whenever I start dating a girl, no matter how much I like her, I keep our lives separate. Okay, I keep our lives separate. I have my place, you have your place. Period. Okay? Keep separate bank accounts, we keep separate cars. We really don't share anything aside from each other's company. And aside from taking each other out, 50-50. Because like I said, you don't want to front these girls beyond the first couple of dates. You want to make sure that she will pull her half. Okay, you don't want to be paying for these chicks like every time you go out. That's ridiculous. So there really is no benefit in moving in with women. All there are disadvantages. Okay, there are just way too many disadvantages in moving in with her than there are actual advantages. Really the only advantage you have with moving in with a girl is you'll have somebody to kind of pal around with 24/7, especially if you get along. That could be fun. If she's cool, maybe she'll do all the cooking, maybe she'll do your laundry, maybe she'll do all the cleaning. That would be cool too. I'm just specifically talking about those rare cases, those rare type of girls who will actually do those things. Because most of these millennial women these days, especially if they've been brainwashed by that feminist shit, they're not going to do anything. Okay, they will just be like a piece of furniture in that apartment. I just don't see a whole lot of benefit in actually moving in with the girl. If you think you're going to have more sex, you are statistically and factually wrong. Look at all the research out there. Anytime a couple moves in together, the sex disappears. The competition anxiety disappears. Okay, the respect for each other starts to deteriorate. It's just better if you keep your lives separate. Unless you're a guy who wants to actually get married and have a family and do all that, which some of my students want to do. Their whole goal is they want to be a dad. They want to have a family. And you know what? I'm not going to fault them for wanting that, because as men, we're wired to want that. And, personally, it's not for me, but I'm not going to judge another man. If that's what he wants to learn from my program, that's completely fine with me. I just try to warn him as much as possible about marriage and the risks involved. And I try to persuade him into, especially if he's like a Catholic or a Christian, or, he has any type of religious reasons for getting married. I tell him what I would do is just have a private ceremony. Don't invite the state into your life. Don't do contracts. Just have a private ceremony. You can hire a priest to marry you off. Just don't do the contracts. Keep the state out of it. Just keep it between you and your wife. That's who it should be, between just you and your wife, right? Keep the state out of it. All they want to do is control your life. So unless you actually want to marry this girl, you want to avoid living with her. If she's just going to be your girlfriend, you're better off just keeping your own separate places, staying wherever you are. Even if it's at your parents' house and she's got her own apartment, you're better off with just staying at your parents' house, because chances are you can come and go as you please. If you're an adult still at your parents' house, you can come and go as you please, rather than actually moving in with this girl who is going to treat you like, you're 5 years old and you can't leave the house without permission. And it's really, really almost impossible to keep gaming women, to keep fielding options for yourself when you are living with your girlfriend. Okay, because most of these girls, when you're living with them and say you don't come home till like 2-3 in the morning, you can guarantee she's gonna check your phone. You can guarantee she's gonna ask for your password. You can guarantee she's gonna look through your computer. She's gonna go sneak around your car and grab the keys while you're sleeping, and she's gonna dig around looking for evidence. Okay, it's not worth it. Personally for me, I pull all-nighters, like especially if I'm on a pull and I meet a girl that I spend the entire night with. A lot of times I won't get back. Like, say I left that night about like 7-8 at night to go to this venue, and say I meet somebody and there's a pull and I go back to her place, I generally won't come home until the next afternoon. Okay, and the last thing I'm gonna do is explain myself to anybody, which is why I don't live with any of these girls, because if you disappear for that long, believe me, she is going to be quizzing you, like where you went. Even if you have the agreement that I have, where you're like telling her that you're dating other people, she'll still ask. She'll still quiz you. And if you're living with her, it's a lot harder to tell her to, go screw yourself when you just spent the entire night out and you're banging some other girl. You can't, even if you've set that agreement up from the beginning. Okay, so that's all I'm going to say for this coaching video tonight. There's really no benefit in moving in with any of these girls unless you are going to get married to her. Okay, unless you're choosing to be with her specifically and you want to settle down and do that family life. I mean, personally, again, for me, I think it's a bit too risky in today's climate, especially with all the laws favoring women. I definitely would not go there. I would definitely advise a private ceremony, a private marriage. Just hire a priest on your own, or if you're religious that way and you want to get married that way, or just do your own private ceremony. Keep the state out of it. Don't do any contracts. You don't need to notify anybody. Just you and your wife. Go get married. Okay, have your family there. Invite guests. Do whatever you want to do. Just don't invite the state. You don't need to tell them that. You don't need to tell them about these things, okay? And you could just keep your finances and things like that separate. At the end of the day, there is zero benefit with moving in with your girlfriend. Zero, okay, zero. So do not let her move in. Even the girl that I ended up living with, I did not leave my house. I did not leave my place. I moved into her place. You want to know why I moved into her place and I didn't make her move into my house or get a separate place with her? Is because I did not want to sign the long-term lease with one person, okay, that I could potentially be stuck with, and B, because I knew by moving in with her that I could leave at any time, which I did. I walked out the door. I left when I wanted to, okay? If we both signed the lease together, that would be a lot more difficult, but I don't do those kind of things. Neither should you. So until next time, this is M. Don't forget to smash that like button below. Also, hit that notification bell up top so that you are notified whenever I release a brand new coaching video. Also, more importantly, guys, make sure you subscribe to my channel, okay? Helps me out a ton when you guys actually subscribe to my channel. It tells YouTube that you love my content, you're digging it, you're feeling it, and you want me to produce more content for you, especially this red pill content lately. So make sure you hit that subscribe button as well. And for you guys who want to support my work and support my content and everything I'm teaching guys here even further, the best way to do that is by jumping into my monthly online coaching program, 7 Months to Mastery, where I am teaching guys just like you how to go out there and approach and close the hottest women on the planet. I'm talking 8s, 9s, and 10s. Okay, these are the exact same type of women that myself and my students are approaching and closing every single day. And I kid you not, every single day. So if you want to support my work, my content, that is the absolute best way to do it. And the first month is only $1 for the entire first month of coaching lessons. It's only $1. Who can't afford $1? It's only $1. So if you want to sign up and you want to support my work, my content, and all of this red pill knowledge that I'm teaching guys here, go ahead and click that link below in my description box. It will take you over to my website where you can get signed up right now. It only takes 2 seconds, so do that now, and I will see you in my next coaching video. What's that?
Are you vlogging?
Yeah.
You're a vlogger?
What's your name?
Allie.
Allie.
Mackenzie.
Mackenzie.
Good to meet your vlogger.
I have a YouTube channel, yeah.
I know, I like him. I was just gonna say I like your earrings.
Wait, where's yours?
I don't really have it. I have this, but they're not his. She has this.
Wait, how old are you, by the way?
18.
Oh, you're both 18? Okay, so you can't even go to clubs yet. So they're from Arizona, right?
Yep.
And you're only gonna be in town till Saturday.
Yeah, and we're gonna go with you to that party.
Yeah, so tonight's Thursday, so I'm gonna take him to the Ty Lopez party.
Yeah.
Here, what's your number? Put your number in there.
Wait, how do I enter it?
That. There we go.
Yeah, and I set my last name as Party just
All
in
right.
case to forget.
Allie, party.
Wait, let me add a picture. How do I edit this?